Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to have the opportunity to speak in front of such a distinguished audience today. As the saying goes, if you don't know someone, you can care about them. So please allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ananda Muthia. I'm second semester student of Biology Education at the University PONTIANAK. Today, we're going to learn about adaptation, which are special features of living things that help them survive in their environment. Adaptations are very important because they allow animals and plants to live, grow, and reproduce even in challenging conditions. First, let's take a look at the two living things shown of this slide. We have a camel and sunflower. Camels live in very hot desert with very little water. To survive in those harsh conditions, camels have several amazing adaptations, such as one, they have stored fat, which can be used as an energy reserve. Two, long elases and nostrils that can close to protect against sand and dust. Three, thick foot pads so they can walk on hot sand. Four, and they can store water in their bodies so they do not be dehydrated easily. Number two, we have a sunflower. Sunflower also have some unique adaptation, including strong limbs to support their large, hairy flowers. Number three, the ability to follow the sun, we call heliotropic sun, so they can maximize photosynthesis. Next, today I will cover three main points. The first, explain how variation amongst the same species can drive natural selection. I will explain how variation among individuals of the same species can drive natural selection. Difference in traits can help some individuals survive better than others, which is the basis of natural selection. Second, I will relate natural selection to evolution. Natural selection is actually the driving force behind evolution because it changes the frequency of traits in a population over time. Third, I will list and describe examples of evolution that have happened through natural selection. This real life example will help you see how the process works in nature. Let's continue and explore the topics one by one. Who is Charles Darwin? Charles Darwin was an English naturalist who studied variation in plants, animals, and even fossils. He observed how different species could change over time. He became famous for his theory of evolution, suggesting that the organisms which survive are those that adapt best to their environment. His ideas changed the way we understand life on Earth. Now, next, let's do what Darwin noticed during his famous trip to Galapagos Island in 1835. In September 1835, he visited the Galapagos Island, a chain of islands in the eastern Pacific Ocean. There, he made detailed notes and observation on plants and animals. So some of his observations include. Okay. Alright, let's start review the answer to you thinking about this. solution explains the advantage this particular tortoise poses. The tortoise with long necks and the unique sandal-like features in their shells find it significant either to lift their head high to reach more leaves. This ability is critical, especially in environments where food resources might be limited. By being able to access vegetation that shortens food, tortoises cannot effectively reserve this food over those limited food resources. This means less direct competition for food, giving them a clear survival advantage. The perfectly illustration how a specific physical adaptation directly contributes to an organism's ability to survive and thrive in this environment. Building on previous discussion about the tortoise, let's start define the core concept behind what is natural selection. At the slide stage, every species contains variation. Think back to the tortoise. Some had longer necks, some short, and from this variation, individuals' best adaptation to their specific environment are the ones that survive. Furthermore, these well-adapted individuals are also more likely to survive long enough to reproduce successfully, through passing their successful genes on to the next generation. This process ensures that beneficial traits become more common over time. What is evolution? Evolution is a fundamental development as the change within species over time. This process typically happens slowly and continuously, largely due to natural selection, which we just discussed as a driving engine. However, it's also important to understand that large-scale change or more rapid evolution shift can be forced by extreme events. For example, the evolution of the horse. The graphic illustration how, over the past 55 million years, the equine family has undergone a series of significant change. What particularly striking is the transformation from their ancestors having 3 or 4 functional toes to eventually developing the single, strong hoof we see in modern horse today. We can observe the progression in both the skeletal structure, especially the leg bones, and the overall body form, clearly showing how natural selection gradually favored traits that allowed for faster moving on open grasslands. This example beautifully demonstrates how evolution isn't just about small continuous change, but also about dramatic transformations in physical characteristics that occur over vast geological timescales. This slide explains the drivers behind the change we just observed a significant weather change occurred the environment change, which is in turn favored certain traits. Keyways. To conclude our discussion on evolution and natural selection, let's briefly recap audience from the beginning, as we did with the intriguing example of the Galapagos tortoise. This example perfectly illustrates how specific physical characteristics like their long necks and satellite-like shells provided a crucial advantage for survival by allowing them to reach more food and reduce competition. This led us directly to understand natural selection as the fundamental process where individuals best adapted to their environment are more likely to survive and reproduce. Based on their specific genes, it is truly the powerful engine that drives all evolutionary change. Finally, we define evolution as the change within species over time. While often a slow and continuous process, we also saw how significant environment shifts, like the ones that impact the first lineage over 55 million years, can drive dramatic transformation leading to the development of highly even structure like a single hoof. So, thank you very much for your time and attention today. Now I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. That's all. Thank you.